What we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. I'm your regular host. This beautiful Monday evening from Lagos, Nigeria. You're welcome to the month of May 2025. May, yes, May is the month, if you know what I mean. I open up the month of May by the grace of God because my birthday is always on May 1. So I'm the first member of the month of May. All others that come after me are younger brothers and younger sisters. I'm the oldest in May. Okay, so welcome to the month of May, and I pray that the month will be loaded for you to overflowing. The glory of God will overwhelm your life. The beauty of the Lord will be upon your destiny. The presence of God will go with you, and the Spirit of God will order your lives, your steps, your heart, your choices, and your decisions. Glory be to God. After the series that we had for the Easter edition, which immediately followed fermented foods, I just felt I should do a bit of how to improve our digestive health before I commence on what I promised on teas and spices, beverages and spices. So let me just again do an interlude here and talk a bit. We can only scratch it on the surface on improving digestive health. All right. So we're going to be looking at digestive health and digestive disorders, and then I will share a few tips. Again, like I said, it's just a scratch on the surface. It's much deeper than we can discuss on this platform in this episode and probably the next. So I urge you, in case you want to know much more, if you want to dive in deeper, then enroll at the Rafa Institute of Healthy Living. In Module 3 in particular, we deal extensively with gastrointestinal health. So today, let's start, as we always say, that what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription, of course, is knowledge, right? To be informed is to be transformed. To be uninformed is to be deformed. And I pray that the information you are receiving here will actually bring transformation to your health and wellness and your well-being. So today, let's start off by looking at what is gastrointestinal health or digestive health. Now, gastrointestinal health has to do with keeping our gastrointestinal tract free of the various disorders that usually afflict it. There are so many diseases, disorders, afflictions that can afflict our digestive tract, beginning from the mouth all the way to the anus. So many. So gastrointestinal health simply means doing all within your power in partnership with God to keep your GI tract free of these various disorders that usually afflict it. That's gastrointestinal health. Now, what about gastrointestinal disorders? Now, these are medical disorders of the gastrointestinal system, from entry to exit. I normally say from the front door to the back door. From entry to exit, from the mouth to the anus in the digestive system. Now, when our digestive system is functioning optimally, there are many benefits to enjoy. Principally, among the benefits of a well-functioning digestive system are the following. Number one, when your digestive system is functioning optimally, food will be properly digested and assimilated in your GI tract. The whole essence of eating is not just for the enjoyment we derive while we eat, which economists will call utility. It's not about the utility derived, the pleasure derived when you're enjoying a meal, a good meal, a tasty meal. But the whole idea of eating is for your digestive system to be able to process that food, in other words, digest that food and extract the nutrients in that food, which are the building blocks of robust health. And after breaking it down, carbohydrates broken down to glucose, proteins broken down to amino acids, fats and oil broken down to lipids, and then minerals and trace minerals and vitamins, phytochemicals, enzymes, and what have you, that are present in food, particularly raw food, enzymes in raw food, they are called food enzymes. When all of these things are broken down to the basic units, then the body is able to assimilate them, absorb them. And these things enter into the bloodstream. Once they enter into the bloodstream, then they start circulating around the body and they become useful to the body. But if the digestive system is not working optimally, it's not able to digest food properly, and it's not able to absorb nutrients from the GI tract properly, then your digestive system or the digestive system is compromised. And then you may eat the most nutritious meal. You won't be able to benefit optimally from it because you are not able to process it and you are not able to extract the needed nutrients from it. So a digestive system that is functioning optimally helps you and I to properly digest our food, assimilate the nutrients in the food, and obtain maximum benefits from the nutrients in our food. That's why we have to keep our digestive tract functioning optimally. First benefit. Now, second benefit of an optimally functioning digestive system is that waste products from digestion will be eliminated efficiently. In other words, after the nutrients in the food have been, removed, absorbed, and taken out, whatever is left, whatever is remaining in the GI tract should be flushed out efficiently, promptly too. So they don't back up in the GI tract, and cause all kinds of problems in there. Because when waste products are not efficiently removed from our GI tract in good time, which is called transit time, the time it takes from the time you swallow the food and it travels through the GI tract, being digested, being processed, and the nutrient being absorbed, and the waste products being pushed along, the time it takes from the time food enters our mouth and the solid waste product is coming out through the anus, that time is called transit time. Transit time should ideally be somewhere between 16 hours and maybe 18 hours, maximally 24 hours. Any waste product, particularly solid waste product in the GI tract that stays more than 24 hours may begin to cause problems. The carbohydrate therein will start fermenting, and then a lot of gas will start getting generated, and bloating will take place, flatulence will take place. The protein there will start putrefying. It's like getting rotten. And then it generates a lot of smell, which can affect the breath of that person, bad breath, mouth odor, body odor, and very smelly poo-poo, because of putrefaction, particularly of animal protein. And then, of course, the fat in there, if it stays longer than necessary, will start going rancid. And rancidity, if you know what rancidity is all about, if you have seen coconut oil, for example, or coconut that has gone bad, you know how it smells? The oil in it, the fat in it has gone rancid. That's why it smells that way. All right. So when your digestive tract, my digestive tract, is working optimally the way it should, then there is a timely, and efficient as well as prompt elimination of waste products so they don't back up and cause problems in the GI tract. The third benefit derivable from these two, you're getting the best of nutrients and you're eliminating waste products in a timely manner, then we will be able to avoid unnecessary suffering, pain, and discomfort arising from ailments of the digestive tract, because there are so many ailments of the digestive tract that can cause problems and afflictions and pain for human beings. Now, there are well over 66 known disorders of the digestive tract, probably up to 100 of the digestive tract alone, beginning from the mouth. I'm not even including dental issues now. I'm starting from the throat, all right to the anus. Well over 66 known, probably up to 100 different disease conditions or afflictions that can afflict the digestive system. All of these can be avoided if we keep our GI tract functioning optimally. That's why digestive health is very important. The bulk of our immune system is also in our digestive tract. And then the polyvagal system, okay, particularly the vagus nerve, also has a point where it terminates in the digestive tract. So it impacts on many other systems. The digestive system impacts on many other systems in the body. It impacts on the central nervous system. It impacts on the immune system. It impacts on various other systems of the body in many different ways. So keeping your digestive health on turbo is a very wise thing to do. Now, these over 66 known disorders of the digestive system can be well prevented if we pay attention to our digestive health. So in this episode, let me just highlight 33 examples of digestive disorders, because some people might be wondering, you say, over 100, almost 100 different diseases of the digestive tract alone? Wait a minute, what are they? I'll just give you 33 examples, and that is less than half of the different diseases of the digestive system. I will arrange them alphabetically, okay? We have abdominal adhesions. I won't take time to explain them because my focus is not to dwell on the diseases, the pathologies, the different conditions that can develop in the digestive tract. That's not my focus. My focus is how to keep that digestive system healthy to prevent these diseases, all right? I'm more interested in preventing these diseases than knowing these diseases, okay? Because when they happen, they take a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of time to treat them. And some people suffer a lot before they get well, if they get well, okay? So the first one is abdominal adhesions. Again, like I said, I won't explain too much time. Then we have achalasia, okay, which has to do with the neck, the lower, the neck of where the esophagus connects with the stomach. That portion is called the lower esophageal sphincter. That place can become compromised. Instead of opening well and closing properly to allow food to enter the stomach, when you put food in your mouth and you swallow, it goes through esophagus. When it gets to the lower esophageal sphincter, the sphincter will open like a valve, allowing the food to go through and enter the stomach, and then it closes back. If something can happen to it there, it can become rigid, hardened, loses flexibility. It's not able to open very well and close, So that's achalasia. Then we have anal and rectal problems. You know many of that, You know about hemorrhoids and anal fissures and fistulas and what have you. Then appendicitis, another very popular one. These are all digestive disorders. Barrett's esophagus, bleeding in the digestive tract. Some people get typhoid and they don't address it properly. It can perforate the digestive tract and there can be bleeding in the digestive tract. Some people also take, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents, that can also cause perforations in the digestive tract. Okay, then bowel cancers are there, celiac disease, colitis, constipation, Crohn's disease, diarrhea, diverticulitis, inflammation of the colon, and then diverticulosis. Then we have duodenal ulcer, indigestion, food poisoning, gallstones in the gallbladder, because you see the liver and the gallbladder are all part of your digestive system, because the liver produces the bile that you need to emulsify fat before fat can be digested. And that bile is stored in the gallbladder. So the liver and the gallbladder are part and parcel of our digestive system. So when gallstones develop in the gallbladder, that's part of digestive disorders. Okay, even liver cirrhosis, when the liver gets compromised, gets hardened, or even hepatitis of the liver, all of these impact on digestive health. Even fatty liver, all of them affect our digestive system. Then gastritis, then GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, which is, otherwise known as heartburn in layman's language. Then hemorrhoids, hepatitis, hiatal hernia, okay, irritable bowel syndrome, lactose intolerance, malabsorption. Then ulcers that are caused by non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAID ulcer. We have pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas. Then polyps that can develop in the colon, and if not addressed quickly, can progress to become colon cancer or colorectal cancer. Then sore throats and tonsillitis. All of these are digestive disorders. What about peptic ulcer disease, ulcerative colitis, and even viral gastroenteritis? Now, these are just less than half of the diseases that can affect our digestive tract. Now, all the different afflictions of the digestive tract can be broadly categorized into two groups, two categories. First category, that is called functional disorders. Second category, those are structural disorders. Okay, so if any digestive problem occurs in a person, it's either a functional disorder or a structural disorder. Now, functional disorders are those in which the bowel looks normal, but they don't work properly. They do all the tests, they do abdominopelvic sonography, they do MRI, they do scans, they do all kinds of things. All the, aspects of the digestive tract, everything looks good. No structural defect anywhere. Yet, the digestive system is not working properly. That is a functional disorder. And they are the most common problems affecting the colon and the rectum. And they include things like constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, and what have you. Structurally, everything looks good, but functionally, something is out of order. Now, functional gastrointestinal disorders can affect any part of the GI tract. It can affect the esophagus, can affect the stomach, can affect the small intestine, the large intestine, the rectum, and so on and so forth. Now, they are disorders of function. In other words, how the GI tract works. For example, the peristaltic movement that should be pushing things down, waste products down to get to the exit point at the anus, may not be working properly, even though there is no structural defect in the whole structure. But then the movement is not moving as it should. Functionally, there's a problem. So they are disorders of function, not structural or biochemical abnormalities. So as a result of this, X-rays and blood tests, and endoscopies and what have you, may have essentially normal results. May not be able to detect anything abnormal there, but things may not be moving on along properly as they should. Now, the primary causes of functional disorders of the GI tract may include things like poor diet, for example, eating a low-fiber diet, eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of fried foods, a lot of refined foods, and processed meats. All of these things can cause functional disorders in the GI tract. Number two is the use of harsh chemicals in food. Harsh chemicals, such as monosodium glutamate. That's why when I tell people, stop eating those cubes, stop using them to cook. Some people are so addicted, there's nothing you say to them. They are hearing you, but they are not hearing you. They continue to indulge in them. And so they keep experiencing all kinds of disorders. They go to test and they say, oh, your results are normal. And yet their body systems are not working properly. It's a functional disorder. There may be no structural disorder yet, but you are experiencing functional disorders. And it's a matter of time before structural disorders too will set in. Number 3, causes of functional disorders is eating large amounts of dairy products, cow milk-based products, particularly cow milk produced with a lot of hormones. And number 4, cause of functional disorder is when you resist the urge to have a bowel movement. Some people, when they leave their homes and they go outside, they don't go to toilet or poo until they get back home. Somebody told me if he goes out, he can stay for 4 days without having a bowel movement. Cannot use public toilet, cannot use toilet anywhere else except back at home. They just hold it there. Such a practice can cause functional, GI disorders. And then number 5 is overuse of laxatives, stool toughness and what have you. Over time, they weaken the muscles of the bowel. And so without those laxatives, you are not able to have a bowel movement. And then people who take a lot of antacid medicines for ulcer and what have you, particularly antacids that contain aluminum. Most antacids do contain aluminum, by the way. And aluminum is a very toxic metal. It's been alleged to cause, or contribute to the cause of Alzheimer's disease. And then taking certain medicines, especially antidepressants and iron tablets, strong pain medicines such as narcotics can also affect your digestive tract. Yeah, they can. Stress can also cause functional disorders. Sedentary living, no activity, no exercise. And then the very good and positive one, pregnancy, can also cause functional disorders of the GI tract. This is where we are going to go on a short break. And when we come back, we will continue to address other disorders of the GI tract, structural disorders, and thereafter. Don't go away. I'll be back very shortly. Welcome back. This is still Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. Today we're discussing digestive health. And in the first half, we saw how important it is for us to maintain a optimally functional digestive health in order to prevent digestive disorders on the one hand, and also to be able to optimize the nutrients in our food when we eat. And then we looked at the 2 major categories of digestive disorders. The first category has to do with functional disorders, where the digestive system looks structurally normal, but then it is not functioning normally. Now, the second category of digestive disorders are structural disorders. These are disorders in which the bowel looks abnormal and improper. When you do X-ray, when you do, radiological checks, you find out that, something is wrong there. Structurally something is defective there. That's a structural abnormality. That structural abnormality now also causes functional abnormality. Those are structural disorders. Sometimes conventional medicine simply removes those structural abnormalities surgically. The most common structural disorders are those that affect, the anus, as well as the diverticular disease and cancer. If they find, hemorrhoids, sometimes they can surgically remove the hemorrhoids. It's a structural abnormality. They find a polyp in the colon or a tumor in the colon, they can surgically remove it. Those are structural abnormalities, and they get rid of them. All right. Now, so structural disorders or structural abnormalities can be caused by many factors, just like we looked at factors that could cause functional abnormalities. Now, structural abnormalities can be caused by too much pressure, particularly when you are straining, when you are poo-pooing. Some people, when they are poo-pooing, it's as if they are weightlifters. That can put too much pressure on your anus. That can cause hemorrhoid. That can cause a tear in the anus. And that can cause all kinds of structural problems. Then polyps and cancers can also cause structural abnormalities. Chemicals can also cause structural abnormalities. Infections can lead to structural abnormalities in the GI tract. Then fecal impaction, when the poo-poo kind of hardens and impacts, it's like plastering the wall of the colon. That can cause structural abnormalities. It can lead to diverticulosis and such other abnormalities. Sometimes surgical error can lead to structural disorders. Sometimes maybe not even surgical error. Sometimes somebody has a normal surgery, maybe for fibroid, maybe for appendicitis, or some other things. And then at the end of the day, after the surgical site heals internally, some adhesions may develop where some tissues within the internally begin to, glue together, gum together. Asherman syndrome and internal adhesions. These are due to, surgical interventions at one time or the other, in the digestive tract. Now, there are 5 basic root causes of all digestive system problems, whether they be structural disorders or functional disorders. 5 basic root causes of all these problems. And once you understand these root causes and you begin to address them, you can prevent these disorders. The first root cause is dehydration. Chronic, unintentional dehydration. When you are dehydrated, that can cause functional disorders or even sometimes lead to structural disorders. Number 2 basic root cause of all digestive system problems is nutritional deficiencies, especially when you are deficient in micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, and what have you. And then the third one is nutritional excesses. When you have excesses of particularly macronutrients, you have macronutrient imbalances. Too much of carbohydrate, inadequate protein, that's an imbalance. Or too much of one particular macronutrient, that's an excess. Okay? So either you have nutritional excesses or nutritional imbalances. That can lead to digestive system problems. The fourth one, which is the main reason, I should say the primary reason why I decided to touch on digestive health, is dysbiosis. If you recall, when I was dealing with fermented food, I mentioned the fact that fermented foods can bring probiotics into your digestive system, your digestive tract in particular, okay? And when there is a proper balance of friendly bacteria versus disease-causing bacteria, when there's a proper balance, that's your gut microbiome is in proper balance. But when there is an imbalance in your gut microbiome, that's called dysbiosis. Too little of friendly bacteria, too much of disease-causing bacteria in your gut, in your GI tract, that is dysbiosis, intestinal dysbiosis. That can lead to both functional and structural GI tract disorders. That's the fourth root cause of all digestive systems. And so we must all balance our intestinal flora. We must have a healthy gut microbiome. And the fifth one is stress, including toxic overload and many others, as well as chemical irritations and what have you. So let me go over them again. If you want to prevent structural and functional problems in your GI tract, don't get dehydrated, don't get nutritionally deficient, don't indulge in excesses, and make sure you have your gut microbiome in proper balance, prevent dysbiosis, and then manage stress appropriately, and don't allow chemicals that can stress your GI tract, particularly chemical additives to our food, food preservatives, artificial flavors, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, and what have you. Particularly monosodium glutamate, which you find in most of the seasonings, particularly in noodles, as well as the cubes that most of us in this part of the world use in cooking our food. Okay, those are 5 things identified. And then what are the remedies? The remedies, both for prevention and for addressing diagnosed conditions of GI tract problems, are essentially 3. Number one remedies for you to address the 5 basic root causes that I just mentioned. Deal with those 5 issues. Okay? Number 2 is to adopt an appropriate diet. And that has 2 sides to it. First of all, remove all offensive foods from your menu. And number 2, be intentional in choosing the right kind of food that will nourish your body, particularly not be, corrosive or irritating to your digestive tract on the one hand, and also nourish your digestive tract on the other hand. And the third one is to use the following items, maybe I should call them home remedies, that can be very useful in maintaining proper GI tract health or proper digestive tract health. Golden turmeric milk, okay, baking soda, activated charcoal. Of course, you don't have to use activated charcoal extensively. You only use it when it is indicated, when it is needed, during the time of diarrhea or food poisoning or stuff like that, okay? But you can also use a lot of fermented foods. This is the main reason I'm touching on digestive health, because I just concluded a series on fermented foods before the Easter break in the month of April. So now, when you take a lot of fermented foods or probably probiotics, you're actually being intentional in helping your digestive health. And then, aloe vera juice is also very important, or aloe vera gel. You can add it to your smoothie, or you can buy pure aloe force or herbal aloe force, which is aloe vera juice that has some herbs infused into it. And then digestive enzymes are also very helpful in helping you to digest your food, digest it down properly so you can extract optimum, maximum nutrients from it. Black seed oil is also very good for the digestive tract. L-glutamine, an amino acid, very good in healing, leaky gut in the digestive tract. Then slippery elm. You can take slippery elm with coconut milk, or some people like it with goat milk. It also helps, with the mucilage. The same thing you find in okra, you find in jute. We call it ewedu in Western Nigeria. Very, very rich in that slippery portion. Very, very rich in those mucilage that can help to lubricate, as it were, the GI tract and keep things moving very easily without friction. Then broths are also very powerful remedies for the GI tract. Bone broth, vegetable broth if you're a vegetarian, and then of course chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is also a very good remedy for the digestive tract. All right, so in caring for our GI tract, the following things are very, very important. Take note of them as I round up today's episode. How do I care for my digestive tract? I've given you some hints already, but I'm just putting it together in summary now. Number 1, eat a high fiber diet. Avoid all these fiberless foods, highly processed foods. Eat a high fiber diet. That will help your regularity, your bowel movement. Number 2, use fermented foods and probiotics, maybe with some prebiotics. Don't ask me what is prebiotic, because I've discussed that when I discussed the series on fermented foods. Prebiotics and probiotics, okay? So do that, and that will be your number 2 intentional action to improve your gut health. Number 3 is to stay hydrated. Drink sufficient amount of purified water, okay? Mineral-rich water, alkaline water, maybe hydrogen water, and probably structured water. All of these can be in one jar of water. At least 8 glasses of water every day or even more. Stay hydrated. That's your third action for improving your GI tract health. Number 4 is to avoid processed foods, fast foods, fried foods as much as possible. Avoid them as much as possible. Now, occasional indulgence may be no problem, particularly if you're not dealing with any major disease. But if you have any major disease, particularly GI-related condition, I would suggest that you avoid completely processed foods, fast foods, fried foods. Okay? I don't even do, processed meats at all. Corned beef, bacon, sausage, hot dog, ham. I don't do those at all. All right? Similarly, most of those processed foods that are laden with chemicals, I don't do them as much as possible. Okay, now fried foods also, I don't do them quite often, but occasionally I indulge in them. All right? Now, exercise regularly. Exercise also helps, your digestive health as well as other systems in your body. And then, of course, manage your stress properly. And if you have the opportunity and you have the service available where you are, you can also do periodic colonic hydrotherapy as needed. Maybe once a quarter or at least once every 6 months, where you clean out your colon. You go to a center where they offer such services and they do colonic irrigation or colon cleansing or colon hydrotherapy. That helps to clean out the whole place, and they do coffee enema to also stimulate your liver, to clean out your liver and your gallbladder. They also infuse you with some probiotics, very, very important to keep your digestive tract going. Now, many diseases of the GI tract can be prevented or at least minimized by maintaining a healthy lifestyle, practicing good bowel habits, having at least one bowel movement every day, and submitting to regular screening where necessary. So this is how far we go, and we draw the curtain on fermented foods that is culminating today in your GI tract health, digestive health. When I come your way next time, by the special grace of God, I will start another series. And in that series, we'll be looking at teas and spices and their medicinal and nutritional benefits. The medicinal and nutritional benefits of teas as beverages and spices that we use to spice up our cooking and, by extension, our lives. Thank you for spending your beautiful Monday evening with me once again today on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. I pray that before we see next week, you will have a glorious testimony. And I'll take this moment to pray for those who are dealing with digestive disorders, whether functional or structural, that the healing balm from Gilead, the balm of Gilead, the anointing of the Holy Spirit, the power of the great physician, our Lord Jesus Christ, will be released towards you to heal you of that affliction, so you can be delivered from that disorder and the discomfort that it brings, and you'll be made whole miraculously in Jesus' name. And after you've been healed, pay attention to what I've shared with you today so you don't recreate the problem. God bless you. Have a terrific week. I love you.